All good? Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call the May 28, 2025 Town Board meeting to order. Ms. Marco, would you call the roll?
Mr. Dodson?
Present.
Mr. Mastriani?
Present.
Mrs. Galucci?
Present.
Mr. Schlad?
Present.
And Mrs. Collins?
Present.
5 present.
Thank you, Ms. Marco. A quorum is present. Please join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. And Mr. Mastriani, will you lead us?
Yes. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would everybody please stay standing?
Yes, I'd like everyone to remain standing and would like to have a moment of silence for a 17-year-old young man that passed away over the weekend, Eric Paulus from Shelmont. What a terrible tragedy. If we could have a moment of silence and thoughts and prayers for him and his family. Thank you.
Tonight we have some special presentations. Our first presentation is to Mr. Dominic Palomini. Would you and your family members and any of your troop and Miss Barry come up to the front? This is accommodation for this young gentleman. It's whereas Dominic Joseph Palomini of Rotterdam, New York, is a member of the prestigious International Organization of Boy Scouts and a member of Scout Troop 3050 of Guilderland, New York. And whereas Dominic has completed 2 environmental conservation projects for the town of Rotterdam, the most recent one in conjunction with New York State Department of Environmental Conservation's plan to plant 25 million trees by 2033. And whereas Dominic assisted his fellow scouts in building 20 bluebird houses and 20 wood duck houses in 2024 that were placed in Boxwood, Esposito, Jaraca, Kiwanis, and Memorial Park, and the Great Flats Nature Trail, all within the town of Rotterdam. And whereas in early spring 2025, Dominic then led a team of 6 people to assist him with locating and preparing an appropriate site for the planting of 50 red maple and 10 pine trees at the former Strang Farm land off Phillips Road to help prevent soil erosion of the land over time, and also to mark a natural property line for the town of Rotterdam. And whereas while in pursuit of furthering his scouting experience on environmental conservation, Dominic has been logging and tracking the activity in all 40 birdhouses to see what birds habitat in them, and is now also collecting data from the 50 trees planted, recording tree growth and other findings. And whereas in doing these projects, Dominic has earned the Scouting Conservation Good Turn Award, completing his goal of conserving environmental spaces and keeping Rotterdam, New York a nice place to live. Now therefore, I, Molly Collins, Supervisor of the Town of Rotterdam, on behalf of the Town Board, Town Administration, and our town residents, do hereby extend our congratulations and commend Dominic Joseph Palomini for his extraordinary achievement, earning the Scouting Conservation Good Turn Award, and wish him all the success in his scouting work to follow. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tonight, we also have a presentation from our town historian, Dr. Schaefer.
Wow, unbelievable. We need more like that.
Yes, we do.
My name is Jim Schaefer, 39 Skimmerhorn Road, Schenectady, and happy to give you a brief overview of what I've been doing over the last 4 years. Essentially, I want to talk briefly about how we are celebrating Rotterdam's natural and cultural heritage, highlighting the donations of materials and collections that we've received over the past 4 years, public education through the display cases and presentations at various venues, populating the new historians page at the town website, review of the historic files and space needs, and hopefully forming a volunteer network for Rotterdam history. Back in 2020, I was part of a committee headed by the town historian of the town, John Woodward. And at the end of that term, he asked me to step into the present role I have. During the bicentennial year, of course, we were interrupted by the COVID disaster, but we did hold a logo contest. We did plant 200 trees. We crafted a heritage beer. We held a bicentennial hike on the long path that crosses the town of Rotterdam and awarded a patch to all the completers. In the year 2024, the display case was populated by the story of Janta Putjerberg, which is the mountain just outside of Rotterdam Junction. It is the site of the first alpine skiing in New York State. I've had a number of projects that spun off of that, including an application to the Office of Parks to designate Janta Putjerberg as a historic site. That application failed, but in its place, we are now putting a historic sign on Crawford Road, very near the parking lot, partway up the ski hill. That sign is going to be hopefully completed in the next month or so. It will read, "First Alpine Skiing. Schenectady Winter Sports Club built ski trails on the slopes of Janta Putjerberg in 1933 and got snow trains to North Creek, starting the multi-million-dollar ski industry in New York." That effort to produce a sign with the wording in the space limited cost about $1,700. Those funds were raised locally by residents on Janta Putjerberg and nearby hills, as well as the Schenectady Winter Sports Club. So we're very grateful that we were able to cover the cost of that sign. And as soon as it's done, I will be announcing where we were going to plant it up on Crawford Road and invite members of the town board to come and help us unveil that sign. In addition to the sign work and the historic site recognition work, 2024 was the 90th anniversary of the first snow trains from Schenectady to North Creek. And I was happy to present a variety of PowerPoint presentations both in North Creek about the Schenectady force that joined the North Creek people in building the ski trails and getting the snow trains started, getting a rope tow started, my mother getting involved in starting the first ski patrol in the country, and telling the story of a fantastic effort by a bunch of young people during the Depression years, two of which were my parents, and many of whom met in the Mohawk Valley Hiking Club and the Schenectady Winter Sports Club, and I know 7 of them that met there and were married. I was a kid, and many of the kids that were part of that were my friends. In the display case, in addition to the Jan Putcherberg story, I organized an exhibit of Schenectady's Women of Winter, highlighting Freddie Anderson, who was the founding member of the Schenectady Ski School, which my wife and I both worked in for Freddie, and her work as a educator of teaching skiing and professionalizing is unbelievable. She was, of course, at Maple Ski Ridge for close to 50 years and taught, along with our staff, over 250,000 skiers. Just an incredible accomplishment. And also in the display case was the story of the first ski patrol in the country, headed by my mother. And that lasted until the current display, which is honoring the Erie Canal, put together by Nancy Papich, a resident of the town and not a member, but a member at large of our Conservation Advisory Council. She was, of course, instrumental in getting skiing safety spotlighted. The snow trains that were going in 1931 from Boston over to the Mount Washington valleys reported injuries. My father, who was president of the club, decided that it was important to not have injuries be a deterrent to having snow trains run safely. So 378 people rode the first snow train back in 1934. We celebrated the 90th year in 1934 because we figured not too many were going to be around for the 100th, myself included, I suppose. The display case right now is honoring the Erie Canal, the story of the Mohawk Valley and the Mohawk River. And this is the 200th anniversary of the start of the Erie Canal. I am currently organizing an October flotilla called the Rotterdam Flotilla of paddlers, kayakers, canoers, other self-motivated and self-energized paddlers to greet the Seneca Chief, which is the boat that's coming from the replication of the Seneca Chief, which was the original boat that DeWitt Clinton rode from Lake Erie on to New York Harbor. It will be coming through Schenectady on the 13th and 14th of October. I've asked the Chaumont and Monson bands to play some Erie Canal songs at the harbor where they'll be meeting the boat. Other activities are being planned at the same time. But October is a long ways away, so we hope to have many more things happening. But the flotilla is going to be greeted, the boat will be greeted with a flotilla of paddlers in Glenville, Niskayuna, and Rotterdam. Part of the public work that I've been doing in popularizing Rotterdam has been through Union College Lifelong Learning webinars and a TV or a YouTube presentation that's on right now on Jana Putcherberg. Segment 8 of History on the Road, which is produced by Don Rittner, is currently showing on YouTube. And they interviewed me, I think, in probably July or August last year. And I must say it's a pretty good performance with a really detailed description of many of the things about the mountain across the river. We filmed it at Loch 9. As far as donations of materials, it's been pretty fantastic. Of course, during the bicentennial, we received $140 donated by the town board for trees. The Long Path patches were funded out of pocket. The Heritage beer was basically donated by the Back Barn in Delanson. We had the 1824 Heritage Beer. The logo and the coasters were all created by yours truly. And the kiosks that helped to establish the record of who was hiking the long path. 2 kiosks were built by the Rotterdam carpenters. The historians page, which is now up and populated with a variety of different papers that I've written and have shared some of the historic resources by others, was a virtue of the idea of Chuck Gerhardt, and I've had tremendous help from Megan Griffin for putting things up and tidying them under a pesky me. The Jana Putcherberg sign, as I said, was $1,700 locally raised, locally donated. The donation of toll records was free from a resident of Gloversville, and I've written a short paper based on the toll booth or the toll house on Broadway Hill in Rotterdam. Also, the diaries from 1882 to 1899 were donated by Tony Cerrone of Rotterdam. And those diaries are filled with incredible daily entries by 2 farmers. And I have those in hand. I've read a number over the years, and they're just remarkable documents. I'm hoping to put together a brief story of what farming was like in 1875 in Rotterdam. As I say, the display case is populated by historical materials on loan through the work of Nancy Papage. And I now want to raise a couple of issues that face the town. We have in storage a number of boxes over in the senior center. They were water damaged in the flood of Irene. And I need to get some volunteers to go over there and start culling through the material to figure out which stuff is worth keeping and which stuff needs to be tossed. I will know that as soon as I organize a small group to go over and do that. At the same time, I hope to be able to get guidance from my fellow town historians on perhaps beginning a small group called the Rotterdam Historical Society. That's going to take a lot of work to organize, but I think we can do it, and I'm hoping to be able to do that within the next year. As soon as I have word of that, I'll let everybody know. So this again is the first known report of the town historian. I hope to be able to do that on an annual basis from now on. Again, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Ron. Sign the sheet.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thanks, Ron.
You're the bailiff.
Yeah, it is. That was very interesting. Thank you, Dr. Schindler.
Yes, thank you.
Very, very interesting.
You need to walk?
Yeah, I need a special license.
Thanks.
So we'll now open provision of the floor. Ms. Marco, is there anyone who wishes to speak?
Bob Godlewski.
I'll remind everybody that you have 4 minutes. Around 3.5 minutes, you'll see my hand go up.
As long as it's this way, not this way. Good evening, my name is Bob Godlewski, 1046 Mayor's Track. The reason I'm here, I watched the end of the last town board meeting right in Junction, and I know you're considering amending Town Code 27160. And it's been 38 years, that was written, I believe, in 1988, and it probably needs to be tweaked a little. I've been in this town 70 years, and when I came here in 56, it's hard to believe, there was a lot of open country. A lot of the farms were very dense now, urbanized. I guess they call that progress. I've had 2 experiences with this town code. I bought my first house down the road over here, 1974. Everybody's house is their kingdom. I made a fatal mistake. I didn't realize that where my bedroom window was my neighbor's driveway, 3 feet. And every week, it was either the sailboat, the camper, or something else in the driveway. My kids were 2 feet on the other. I wasn't happy. So after 17 years, moved over to the other side of town, by the high school, on Manus Drive. Then I go for a walk, and lo and behold, up in the circle, there's this 26-foot camper with an electrical lead running out of it. Well, the son was thrown out of the house, and he was living in the camper. Unfortunately, the town code enforcement officer would not take any action. So I know what it means to have that in your backyard, literally, and I'm asking you to consider these things. To me, safety is always the issue. You park something that big in a driveway, all right? There's no line of sight. Families with kids play in the driveway. You're coming up the road doing 35 miles an hour, and we're all trained to look to the side. Well, you can't see. I got kids across the street from me that go up and down your driveway, and I got a sign, slow down, I'm doing good. What I'm afraid of, that if you change the front yard stipulation, it's going to create a nightmare for safety, all right? The other thing is, a driveway is for cars. What do you do if you got an ambulance or a fire? I go around town, some of them are parked too close to the building. And the current town code only says 5 feet from the property line. Way too close. Another point is this, as you're all aware, houses are selling for a lot of money these days. I would say the average house in Rotterdam is $300,000 to $500,000, and that's a big investment for a homeowner. Well, they're moving it to our town because we got cheap taxes, and it's the community, it's the environment. They don't want to have a trailer right next door to them, okay? The other thing is, like I said, my first house was down here. Most of the lots in Rotterdam are very narrow. I would guess 70% are under 75 feet wide. Most of them were built right after the war, single driveway. The neighbor's yard is right there, okay? And like I said, I had that experience, and I can't imagine on a short driveway backing up a 37-foot trailer without blocking the main road. And it's all about safety. And I know, I listened to the meeting, you have to make that decision. I'm only giving you the facts. 70 years I've been here. And like I said, I offer these suggestions.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, you've been over the 4 minutes.
Oh, I didn't know, I didn't see your hand go up.
Yeah.
All right, one last statement. In
You're
conclusion.
you're over the floor. If you want to hand in your
That's all right, I'll be done in 10 seconds.
we've Chicago, there's no
Madam,
law.
the supervisor directs me what to do, not you.
We have to have other people off,
I know, but
and if I let you go over, then I'm going to hear it from the other person.
there's only one other person to speak to.
Right. But-
And she's
she
yours.
will- she will
And
tell
she's
me.
been caught several
I
times for
strongly advise you to read my concluding statement. It says it all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brenda DeRozian?
Okay. Brenda Trojan, Rotterdam. First off, I want to thank Mr. Dotson very much for challenging me on learning about how government is run. And I learned how government is run here in the town of Rotterdam. So I want to thank you for that. My question to this board, and it has not been answered for the last year or two, is Water District 5, according to the papers, multiple articles saying that this board received a low-interest loan that is going to save, and this is from Mr. Dobson's mouth, going to save $14 million. Again, I will ask, and I'll keep asking. And don't worry, Mr. Mastroianni, you're not off the hook. Did we get that loan? I know you're not going to answer. I hope under miscellaneous, because you guys had a year and a half to figure out how to answer this question to me and to the residents of Water District 5. Because I see nowhere in my research that we got it. But the Gazette reports from Molly, we received a low interest loan. And then he turns around and says, no, they didn't. So what's the truth? Did we or did we not, for District 5, Water District 5, get a low interest loan? Now, you guys are saying that this is going to be a $34 million water project, which I have objected to many times, and this is going to be over 30 years. So that $34 million is not going to be a $34 million loan. There's no way. And I will also ask, because you guys are in charge of the budget up until January 1st, what is the cost of this project? What is the cost to the people in District 5? How much is their bill, our bill, going up? All these questions have been asked multiple times, and multiple times I received no answer. So, Mr. Dobson, I have learned about government. I have learned that government does not work for the people. Now, Mr. Mastroianni, when are you leaving? I'm being serious. I'm not trying to pick on you, but man, you did something. You took the trust of the Rotterdam people and you threw it out the window. You do not deserve to be sitting there, and you do not deserve to be at the meetings for next year's budget. Any other person who did what you did would walk in here with their head down saying, you know what, I did something wrong and I resign. And once again, I'm going to ask this board, why have you not, I have asked many times why this board is silent on what Mr. Mastroianni did. I got an extra 30 seconds. What Mr. Mastroianni did. This board cannot tell me or anybody why you're not commenting on this. And Mr. Mastroianni, don't you feel you have an obligation to the people in Rotterdam and give us an explanation as to why? And not saying it's a stupid mistake. I expect that from a 17-year-old, not from a 40-plus.
Thank you.
That's it, Molly.
And I'm closing privilege of the floor, and we'll now go on to resolutions. Our first resolution is Resolution 195 of the year 2025. The clerk will read.
Accepting town board meeting minutes.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastroianni. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Mrs. Galucci. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson.
I was absent.
You're abstaining?
Yep.
Mr. Mastroianni?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 abstain.
Resolution passes. Resolution 196 of the year 2025. The clerk will read.
To appoint Justin D'Alessandro to the position of senior park attendant.
Okay, is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I heard Mr. Schlott first, so
I'll second.
second by Mr. The motion was made by Mr. Schlog, second by Mr. Mastriani. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 197 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To authorize the purchase of 1 dump truck for the Water and Sewer Maintenance Department.
Okay, is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Dodson. Do I have a second? I'll second. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 198 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To approve 2025 quarterly expense transfers of gas and diesel.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion?
Motion by Mr. Schlag. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Dodson. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 199 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To approve budget transfers to the 2025 budget.
Any discussion? Do I have a motion? I'll make the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Mrs. Galucci. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 200 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To approve budget transfers for the 2024 budget.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Dodson. Do I have a second? I'll second. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
The resolution passes. Resolution 201 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
Call for bids for the Water District Number 5 Water System Improvements, Contract Number 2, Valve and Hydrant Replacement.
Okay, is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Dodson. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Mrs. Galucci. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 202 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To negotiate and execute an agreement with Hydro Source Associates PC for change order number 1 for hydrogeologic services and consulting.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Dodson. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Mrs. Galucci. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 203 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To negotiate and execute amendment number 1 to an existing agreement with Barton LaJudas for Water District Number 5 Capital Project Water System Improvements.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Dodson. Do I have a second? I'll second. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 204 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To negotiate and execute an agreement with Barton LaJudas for Water District Number 5 Curry Road Water Main Replacement Upgrade Project.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Dodson. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Mrs. Galucci. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
And the next resolution is Resolution 205 of the year 2025. The clerk will read.
Authorize the supervisor to negotiate and enter into a public benefit services agreement with Land Reutilization Corporation of the Capital Region.
Okay, is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Dodson. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Schlag. On the question, on the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. Our last resolution for tonight is Resolution 206. The clerk will read.
To accept a donation of gym equipment from Northeast Taekwondo Academy.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Schwab. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Mrs. Galucci. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. And that concludes our resolutions for this evening. We'll now move on to liaison reports. Do any of the town board members have anything they wish to say under liaison reports?
Molly, I have a couple of updates. The Energy Committee continues to meet at least once a month, and we've been working on wind. And currently, our battery code is with legal. So we hope to have these two wrapped up, and quite an accomplishment to have solar and battery and wind and before we end. So, we're very thankful for everybody's support, and these committees have been terrific. The Conservation Committee, we really thank you for your historian report. I was really happy to see you break it out and to take credit for all of the great things that you've done and not incorporated into the conservation team. So, they're very busy working on a lot of items, the natural resource inventory being one of them, which when we're working with the energy team and also conservation, this is, the items that they're working on are very complex and a lot of thoughts going into it, so we really appreciate it. As far as economic development, I've been hitting the streets, talking to businesses at least once a month, bringing the chamber with me and any liaisons that want to attend, and it's been really great. So we've had some good quality time with them so that they can share any issues that they are facing and just kind of get to know their board member in the chamber and build those relationships. So that's all I have, Molly. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything other liaison?
I do.
You do?
Do a report.
Pardon me?
I'm going to do a report.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, is that on the miscellaneous?
Miscellaneous or liaison?
I'll just throw it out there.
Okay.
I'm going to give an update. Water District number 5. We have completed contract number 1, which was our site fill down at the Rice Road site. Site fill, again, we had to bring in over 5,000 cubic yards to level a site for the future well number 6. So I did stop down there today. The grass is growing, which is a good sign. That will allow our drilling contractor to come in and start the test well and then the production well number 6. What you see up here on the dais is our contract number 2, which is valve and hydrant repairs. During the agenda session, we had a discussion. This is priority valves on the 20-inch water main on Curry Road. Basically from District number 2 Fire Department, we'll say to Helleberg Avenue. There's some valves in there on the 20-inch that haven't worked in decades. We do not have the ability at this point in time to isolate our distribution system in that area. Replacement of these valves and the interconnecting streets will put us in a much better position to control our distribution system in an emergency. It also includes some, what I would say is hydrants that are in our distribution system that haven't been repaired. One of them I think goes back to 1948. Just happens to be in an area that has like at least 10 valve shutdowns, of which many of those valves don't work. So we do have that in the contract with many other difficult hydrant replacements that I'll say that are in the state highway. That would be difficult for our town personnel to do, especially with the maintenance protection of traffic on a state highway, so that is indeed included in here as well. So the next major contracts that are under design, and we've reviewed the 60% drawings so far, which is contracts 3, 4, 5. They pertain to well building number 6 down at the Rice Road well field. So that contract, again, we hope in the next month or two that'll get in decent shape enough to submit to the Department of Health for approval. And then the final contract that's probably out into the fall or so is our contract number 7, which is replacement of distribution mains and a new transmission main to loop our system. Replacement of the water main on Altamont Avenue, a section of the water main that goes from Helderberg and Curry down almost to the thruway. And then we are looping our water main through Whispering Pines across the thruway to Carmen to the Circle. And then we're upgrading a water main that's near our May Avenue tank. That's they have a decent main coming out of the tank at 16-inch, but there's no larger diameter mains that'll loop the distribution system over to Hamburg Street.
So that's included in the project as well. So we will continue to work on our capital project for $34 million. We've been making decent headway with the Environmental Facilities Corporation with paperwork that they continue to ask for. And I would hope that we would do a closing sometime in the fall, which would allow me to better address the issue that residents bring up about how we're financing this, and did we indeed get a grant or a loan package. In this case, it was a subsidized loan that we're after, and we should have good answers for that in early fall. Thank you.
So we didn't get the loan yet, right?
So did anyone else have anything that they wish to say under miscellaneous? Okay, then that concludes our business for tonight. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Dodson. Do I have a second?
I'll second motion.
Second by Mrs. Galucci. All in favor?
Aye.